We were all enthusiastic about it. I was enthusiastic about it. The ministry thought that if we did this study, looking at all aspects, then it would be an endorsement of GM. And when they introduce it, they would say that the foremost laboratory in Europe, nutritional laboratory, had looked at them and they found them all right. It had twofold effects. First, it started to increase a proliferative response in the gut. And that you don't like because this is possibly, I'm not saying that it is cancerous, but what it does, it can have an adjuvant effect on any chemically induced tumor. The other thing is the immune system was certainly got into high gear. And that was, we don't know whether it's good or bad, but it certainly did recognize the GM potatoes as alien. And we were convinced that this insertion is causing the problem and not the transgene. As I said, the transgene, when we did it in isolation, even at 800-fold concentration didn't do any harm. It was a very important point because the American FDA is going on by about a neutral technology. And what we did say and what we did publish was actually corroborated, confirmed that it was not the transgene which was the problem, but it was the technology.
The females, the pigs, ultimately we had three outcomes. They were either sterile, they were in the true false pseudo-pregnancies, or they delivered a bag of water. And either way, there was zero output and 100% expenses going into these animals. And these animals 4 years ago were sterile. We got them off of the corn, got them on green grass, and they were reproduced fine. This last winter, I went ahead and started to experiment again and fed them the problematic corn here. And at the present time, these three cows are barren, and the bull is basically sterile. And that was after feeding the corn to them for approximately 90 days.
Ik kan zeggen, het is veilig. We kunnen die aardappel eten. Het is getest. Het is precies dezelfde aardappel als de gewone aardappel, alleen met het ene gen. En waarom mag het niet? Omdat er natuurlijk allerlei regels zijn die ons belemmeren om dit soort aardappels op een snelle manier in het veld te brengen.
The proponents of genetic engineering always jump on and say that a lot of the scientific arguments I use are exaggerated. But I have one particular argument that they never start discussing, and that is when I say that one of the main risk issues of genetic engineering is that 95% of all competent scientists in these fields are working for the producer side, and only 5% are really genuinely independent.
For the sake of a continent threatened by famine, I urge the European governments to end their opposition to biotechnology.
There was even laughter at the idea at a luncheon table of the idea that was now, just then, coming out about how it was going to help the poor people and the poor nations of the world.
The concept that genetically modified crops are needed to feed the world is not only a terrible spin and lie, it actually works against feeding the world. It gives the impression, first of all, that production is the key point in feeding the world, when in fact we have more food per person than any time in human history, and 30,000 people die every day from starvation. So it's not production. The second thing is, genetically modified crops, on the average, don't increase yield. They actually decrease yield so far. It's basically a public relations spin.
We We have before USDA right now a request to test this for the first time on a farm in Illinois this year. And
Get hallucinating about it, we'll lose another year.
yes, we will.
And then the expense goes out and nothing happens because you can't.
Yeah, and I would say, quite frankly, we have no complaint about the way USDA is handling it. They're going through an orderly process. They're making sure that as they deal with these new things, they do them properly. And now, if we're waiting until September and we don't have our authorization, we may say something different.
Call me, we're in a dereg business.
The United States is already the world leader in biotechnology, and we want to keep it that way. In 1991 alone, it was a $4 billion industry. It should reach at least $50 billion by the year 2000, as long as we resist the spread of unnecessary regulation.
Once they have established the norm that seed can be owned as their property, royalties can be collected, we will depend on them for every seed we grow, of every crop we grow. If they control seed, they control food, they know it, it's strategic, it's more powerful than bombs, it's more powerful than guns. This is the best way to control the populations of the world.
Diese Oligarchien der Weltkonzerne, ganz wenige Menschen, ganz wenige Gruppen, die haben eine Macht heute, wie sie nie ein Kaiser, nie ein König, nie ein Papst in der Geschichte der Menschheit gehabt hat. Und Monsanto ist einer dieser Weltkonzerne, sehr effizient übrigens, unglaublich dynamisch, unglaublich vital. Das sind Feudalherren neuesten Typen. 75% der Bevölkerung, vor allem in Schwarzafrika, leben im Elend. Wenn dazu noch die Finanzknechtschaft der Patentmogule käme, dann wäre es um diese Völker geschehen.